my ears got attuned to a lot of different things, of course, augmented by the drama of a musical theater nerd,
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
just really wants to set the stage and give you a feel and sort of create this world audibly for you to step into. Because when I was little, that's how I experienced musicals. I wasn't going to musicals every week and this kind of thing. All I could do was listen to albums, soundtracks, and just sort of close my eyes and imagine what it all looked like. And I think that's a part of what I'm replicating when I write songs.
Mm.
Welcome to the Back Catalog Listening Party, your weekly musical happy hour where musicians pick an album from their back catalog and tell the stories behind their favorite tracks in front of a live online audience.
This week we talk with singer, songwriter, actor, and playwright Queen Esther. She joins us from Harlem with a cup of tea to revisit her 2021 album, Gild the Black Lily, where she conjures up her grandmother's home in the South's Lowcountry. She shares ghost stories, tips on poisonous plants, and how writing songs can be like catching Pokémon. A great hour of music and storytelling, so pour a beverage, grab a snack, and kick back as we listen to music together here on the Back Catalog Listening Party, where it's always Friday and old albums never sounded better. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday.
Happy Friday.
That's right. And welcome to the Back Catalog Listening Party. My name is Mother Banjo, one of your hosts.
My name is Anthony Ihrig, the other host.
And today we have joining us all the way from Harlem, Queen Esther. And folks are excited for the party tonight. Christopher joining us. Looking forward to the show with some vanilla cherry porter. Ooh, that sounds tasty.
Nice.
Connie says hello from Richfield.
Hey, Connie.
And you are mixing something there, Queen Esther. What do you have in that mug of yours?
Tea. I am a
Tea.
tea connoisseur. Yes, this is something from Harney and Sons. Something special. Just a little honey and cream.
Excellent.
Nice.
Harney and Sons, if I remember correctly, based in Connecticut, with my home state. And I once met a Harney son, like a young one. He was probably like a teenager, so he's probably a great grandson or great grandson.
I'm like, you
Fun
didn't meet
fact.
the guy, did you?
No, I don't think the original Hardy. Who knows?
He's a
I'm
ghost.
guessing that. Yeah, I was going to say, I don't know if he's still around, but the tea remains and it's quite tasty.
That's probably English breakfast.
Yeah.
So pedestrian, but when it's good, it's good.
Yeah. We got Susan joining us from Bend, Oregon, enjoying a nice whiskey tonight. And Christy says, we're here, Kermit and Christy out of Cambridge. Well, welcome to the party. Tony, are you enjoying any kind of beverage tonight?
I am. I'm going back to the Brooklyn Brewery again for their special effects hoppy amber NA.
Nice.
It's delicious and amber, as you can see in my Back Catalog Listening Party pint glass.
Excellent. Well, I'm getting fancy tonight. I poured myself a glass of wine, but notice I didn't just let it out from the spigot of the box. So this is a classy.
A bottle? Wait, was it a glass bottle?
Yeah, a glass bottle and everything. It even had a cork.
It had a cork.
Oh my God.
Not a twist off. It's a special day.
That's how excited I am for Queen Esther to be here. So
I'm honored. I
Yes.
really am.
Well, cheers to everyone.
Cheers.
Wherever you are tuned in from. And it looks like Alan joining us from Green, Texas. And
Hey, Alan.
we're excited to have you all here. And we're excited to have Queen Esther join us. And I'm also excited to have someone. I need to know a little bit before we dig into a little bit of your origin story. I want to know about your name. Is Queen Esther your given name? Because I will tell you, Mother Banjo is not my given name by my parents.
My name, actually, yes, it is. I mean, I definitely wore the crown earlier on, but someone else gave me that. Do you really want to hear that story?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Esther is my great-grandmother's name, and Lucille is my grandmother's name. And I think when I lived in Texas, people started calling me Queen Esther because when we would do certain gigs, I would always insist on having certain things for myself. Everyone else would go out and get Burger King when we would do some elegant gig at the Adolphus, for example. But I would always eat whatever uh, everyone else was eating. You know,
Yeah.
Yeah.
someone in the kitchen would always make me a steak. Um, and after a certain point, everyone thought I was reaching for more than or for more than what I was supposed to have. So they started calling me Queen ironically,
Ah,
And now
well,
you just,
sarcastically. And I owned it. I was like, well,
yeah.
fine. Yes.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
I can
It's
remember
amazing.
a gig that we had. It was a Christmas party for H. Ross Perot. We had just come from a very long um, journey, I think halfway across Texas to do this gig. And I was exhausted. So when I got to the women's lounge, they had a really beautiful whirlpool of a jacuzzi, and I got in it. And when the people that were there complained, H. Ross Perot said, she is a guest here at our country club, and she will be treated as such.
Nice.
uh, Whatever it is that she needs to prepare to do her best show is exactly what we will provide. And if her jumping in that jacuzzi is what she needs, then so be it. And no, he didn't come backstage in his little suit and tie, shake everyone's hand, and then ask me pointedly in front of everyone if everything was to my liking and if I
Wow.
had everything that I needed. But remember, this is the same guy who would get in his truck and drive to his gas stations and just put on regular clothes and a seat cap to figure out what kind of service people were getting.
Mm.
I never forgot
Ah,
that.
yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, my name's Queen Esther.
I love it. That is
Yeah.
awesome. And I also fully I love that you also like you're like, yeah, I am Queen Esther. And also,
Yeah, I'll own
asking
it.
for asking to have the same food that other people are having, that does not feel like that is like that
But you,
feels like just as it should be, you know?
yeah, but I didn't ask. They gave
Right.
it to me.
Yeah.
I
Even
never said
better.
I want steak. They were like,
Yeah.
this is for you.
Love it.
Yeah.
Um, that's great. And I'm thank you for sharing that backstory. I always just always like knowing more about people's names because it says so much about them. And that's a great, great story.
If my name were Agnes, it would be Queen Agnes.
Yeah, exactly. Um, well, tell us a little bit about your origin story. You mentioned you had lived in Texas. Are you from Texas? Where are you from originally? And how did you fall into making music?
I went to a performing arts high school in Atlanta, Georgia. I grew up in Atlanta and Charleston, South Carolina. Um, I sang opera. I grew up singing in church, classically trained. I thought, wow, maybe someday I'll grow up and I'll be on Broadway and I'll be featured in the chorus. I mean, that's as far as I could see. And I got scholarships through the Young Arts program to study theater because I love theater. I love musicals. I was a complete musical theater nerd.
Ah,
Um, and I really didn't think about film or television because I didn't think that I was pretty enough to do it. And what I mean is, it's not that I wasn't pretty. I just didn't think that I was some white guy behind a desk's idea of what a pretty black girl is. I mean, that varies. So I
mhm.
thought, well, instead of jumping through those hoops, let me stay in the lane that I know. I knew that I had charisma and I knew that I could deliver on stage. And so that's what got me to Texas. I went to the University of Texas at Austin on scholarship. And I left when I became a big fish in a small pond. I was with Rotel and the Hot Tomatoes for 2 years.
Mm.
And I thought, well, this is as far down the road as I'm going to get with this. I mean, I was living by myself and paying my rent and my bills and going to school and all of that from singing in that band. We did the zoo ball, we did the white ball, we did the governor's ball. We played private parties for the Bass Brothers and, like I said, H. Ross Perot. we were the go-to party band at that time. It was a all-girl, you know, three harmony, all that girl group stuff, with a really killer backing band. And it was kind of fantastic. And then I thought, I've got to reach for more. So somewhere in the midst of all of that, I decided I'm going to move to New York. I dropped out of school. I finished at the new school with a degree in screenwriting because
Hmm.
I thought it would be a good idea to develop my writing skills. I was always writing. My mother taught me how to read when I was 3 years old. And by the time I was five, I was reading as well as any fifth grader, as well as kids that were more than twice my age. So they put me in the gifted program. So I thought that would be a good use of words and wordage. But once I got to New York, I mean, I really thought talent mattered. It doesn't. But nobody told me that. I thought, oh, I'm talented, therefore I will make it. No,
That's yeah.
no, no. Um, and I would go to these auditions. I mean, it's really a weird catch 22 when you're starting out and you're not union. Um, and eventually, I mean, I um, auditioned for the first national tour of Rent, and I got it on a cattle call. I didn't have an agent. I didn't have a manager. I didn't have a lawyer. I didn't have anything except my headshot in a bin. And someone picks up my headshot and calls me because I didn't type out at first glance. And I went in the room, and five callbacks later, I
Hmm.
was in the first national tour that they put together. The,
Wow.
yeah, that was kind of a big deal because that got me my SAG card, SAG AFTRA, got me my equity card, got me a pension, health insurance. They say, oh, when you come to New York, if things don't happen for you within the first year or two, it happens for you within your sixth or seventh year. And that's
Hmm.
what happened for me.
Hmm.
Wow.
So in the meantime, before I got that gig, I was running around doing a lot of alternative theater and a lot of alt kinds of music. I was working with Elliot Sharp. We did a record called Huskow, and James Blood Ulmer took me under his wing. Harmonic guitar legend James Blood Ulmer. He co-created Harmonics along with Ornette Coleman, and really helped me realize that I'm a harmonic person. I can do a lot of different things really well simultaneously. You can't really be a harmonic musician unless you're a harmonic person. Harmonics requires you to not play the changes. He told me that I was uh, a harmonic vocalist, and that the reason why I was able to do theater and do music and do all kinds of theater and do all kinds of music. I mean, I was singing everything from the American canon from the 20s, the 30s, the 40s, the 50s. At first, I was doing it because, wow, I got to pay rent. And then it was fun. And then I thought, well, maybe I could write songs. And I started writing lyrics and partnering with people, and the ball just kept rolling. And I started to sort of unravel my own ideas. And then I realized, okay, I'm not just a performing artist. With the solo performance and the performance art and the storytelling that I do, I'm a generative performing artist. That is, I'm not just waiting by the phone to ring. I come up with ideas and I give myself work. The real linchpin was figuring out how to apply for grants to fund what it is that I wanted to do. That was the ticket. That was when that's when all the lights turned on. I mean, all the lights turned on when I realized, when I could name what it was that I was doing. Does that make sense? Uh-huh.
Yeah. And so no, this is so great. There's so much in there, and I
Yeah.
know we
This
could
is
talk about each one of these things, but I do want to jump into some music, and because we're going to probably talk about many of these other things when we dive into the songs.
Yeah.
So the album that you chose to feature on today's show is Gild the Black Lily. It came out in 2021, and you can see for folks who are joining us for the live taping or watching on YouTube, they'll see it. The cover art has you sitting on a chair with a banjo. And tell us a little bit about, first of all, why you picked this album, and yeah, how the banjo factors into this recording.
This is the first album that I did that was fully fledged for me as a songwriter, as a vocalist, and as a producer. Before, with the last album, I was feeling my way as a producer. I was experimenting. I was finding my sea legs with the other side. With this album, I knew exactly what I wanted to do, the sounds I wanted to get, where I wanted it to go. And the album really came out of a certain kind of misery, I suppose. I really miss my grandmother so much. And I just didn't really know how to let her go. I still don't know how, really. So that album was me embracing her, I think, from afar. And it was also a nod to my childhood. When I was a kid, there were all of these different influences. There was everything playing on the radio. There was, Buck Owens and his Buckaroos and everything on Hee Haw. And there was church, but the church that I went to wasn't necessarily like everybody else's. And I don't know. I really tried to give the listener a feel for a different part of the South. I'm from the Lowcountry, and I'm not necessarily sure a lot of people know where that is or what that is or how that came to be. You talk a lot about New Orleans or Nashville or Memphis, and somehow the Lowcountry ends up hiding in plain sight. Uh, the Charleston, for example, the dance is also a song, was also a movement, and that came straight out of the Gullah Islands.
Hmm.
And so did Porgy and Bess, for example, the opera. I think everybody knows that song, Summertime.
Mm-hmm.
The guy that wrote the libretto did so from Paris Island, one of the Gullah Islands. I mean, the influence, it stretches further than people can really imagine. But nobody really talks about that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And this album is saturated with that, with those vibes, and at least I hope.
Nice.
Excellent.
I hoped to. That was my way of introducing the world to that part of the South. The picture was taken by Amy Arbus. Amy Arbus is the really gifted photographer. I met her at the Jazz Age lawn party. We were both actually on our way there. And she was a press photographer. And we just fell into a conversation because I was with my niece, Madison, who looks like a supermodel. And she was like, oh, I would love to take her picture. And she ended up taking mine for this album. We talked about it for a while before it actually happened. Amy Arbus, as you probably know, is the daughter of Diane Arbus. Arguably, I suppose, one of the most important photographers of the 20th century. And she's wonderful. She looks like my Aunt Peggy.
Love
I mean,
that.
every time I see her, I want to hug her and hold on for a little longer than I should.
Well, this photograph, the cover of the album is amazing and
stunning.
And if folks are just listening to the podcast version of the show, if they go to backcataloglisteningparty.com, they'll see we have the picture featured there. But let's dive beyond the cover and listen to one of the tracks that you picked to feature on tonight's show. This is John the Revelator. Is there anything you want to say about this tune before we take a listen, or you want to just chat about it afterwards?
Oh, we can chat about it afterwards.
Okay.
Sounds good. We're going to kick off our listening party with John the Revelator from Queen Esther here on the Back Catalog Listening Party.
Tell me who's that riding, John the Revelator. Tell me who's that riding, John the Revelator. Tell me who's that riding, John the Revelator. Wrote the book of the seven seals. Tell me who's that riding, John the Revelator. Tell me who's that riding, John the Revelator. Tell me who's that riding, John the Revelator. Wrote the book of the seven seals. Now God stepped out in the cool of the day, called Adam by his name, but Adam didn't answer, 'cause he was naked and ashamed. Tell me who's that riding, John the Revelator. Tell me who's that riding, John the Revelator. Tell me who's that riding, John the Revelator. Wrote the book of the seven seals. Tell me who's that riding, John the Revelator. Tell me who's that riding, John the Revelator. Tell me who's that riding, John the Revelator. Wrote the book of the seven seals. Now Christ had 12 apostles, 3 he led away. He said, watch with me while I go up yonder and pray. Tell me who's that riding, John the Revelator. Tell me who's that riding, John the Revelator. Tell me who's that riding, John the Revelator. Wrote the book of the seven seals. Tell me who's that riding, John the Revelator. Tell me who's that riding, John the Revelator. Tell me who's that riding, John the Revelator. Wrote the book of the seven seals. Now Christ rose on Easter morning. Mary and Martha went down to see. He said, go and tell my apostles to meet me in Galilee. Tell me who's that riding, John the Revelator. Tell me who's that riding, John the Revelator. Tell me who's that riding, John the Revelator. Wrote the book of the seven seals. Tell me who's that riding, John the Revelator. Tell me who's that riding, John the Revelator. Tell me who's that riding, John the Revelator. Wrote the book of the seven seals.
All right.
Nice.
Queen Esther with her take on John the Revelator from her 2021 album, Gild the Black Lily, which we are revisiting today with Queen Esther joining us from her home in Harlem. And folks, comments lighting up with your voice and the power of it. And also, this song has been recorded lots of different ways over the years, but the song is, and your voice are so strong. It's so nice hearing it just pared down with I'm guessing that was hand claps and foot stomps going along with
It
that?
was a bass drum. That was Shirazette Tinin, the drummer percussionist. When I was a little kid, I would go to church with my great grandparents and my grandparents, and that's what I heard.
Mm-hmm.
And that was me trying to transport you and take you there with me. Um, you know, I mean, I think the South is vast. It's vast. It's really just so overwhelming. And you never really get to hear from my little corner of the world. Um, so that was me just delivering that to you. I also think, for whatever versions I've heard, it sounds different when someone is singing it that actually believes in God.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I think that kind of makes a difference. And someone for whom the song is a kind of intimate gateway to their past. I mean, I can distinctly remember my great grandmother, my grandmother. This song was, you know, was something that everybody sang.
Hmm.
It's not, my mother heard it and she was like, "Oh yeah."
Yeah.
Well, it certainly transported us somewhere else. I will say that it was. It really did feel like it wasn't just a song. It
Mhm.
felt like we were experiencing something through your voice and your delivery.
Yeah. And when you, I know with your intention with recording these songs that you were really trying to sort of channel your grandmother and the places you grew up. When you set out to record, was there anything special about where you recorded it, or to get those kind of sounds, or was that immaterial in terms of where you recorded to capture that?
No, it was immaterial. I wasn't really focused on where as much as, I mean, it was my gosh, it was the pandemic. We were all masked up and running around and, trying not to cough on each other. And it feels like a miracle that got done at all.
Mhm.
You know, it was really, how those moments were harrowing. Grateful that I worked with musicians who were willing to go down that road with me. Um, and I'm so happy for the way everything came together. I mean, you can't predict these things.
Yeah,
Mm-mm.
that's
You
true.
don't, you go into it hoping for the best, but not really knowing. I don't know that the environment would have made much difference, but, you know, um, most of the musicians that I work with aren't from New York. They're from the South. Boo Reiners is on this record. He's from North Carolina. Shirazette's from North Carolina. Jeff McLaughlin's from Georgia. Um, Hilliard is playing bass. He's from Idaho. But his Iowa or Idaho, I can't remember. But his parents are from Savannah, Georgia.
Mhm.
Um, so I don't know. You know,
Yeah,
I don't
sometimes
know.
the people are, I mean, that's why I asked the question, because sometimes people are really, they go to a space to get a sound. And in this case, it was really you got the people to get the sound more than
Yeah.
the space.
I mean, this happened at Mighty Toad in Gowanus with Craig Dreyer, someone that I'd known for a long time, and who is maniacal about sound. Um, and I'm really grateful that Jorg Moore mixed it and made sure that it was mastered properly, because those are really important steps. I wanted the immediacy. I wanted it to feel like I was standing in front of you and singing this to you.
Well, mission
That
accomplished on that tune.
okay,
I
good.
was
For
like,
real.
I was like right there, and which is also even more amazing because not only are we listening to a recording, but we're joining each other online. We're not in a room together, but I felt like you were right next to me, so
That's
which is pretty
exactly it.
powerful.
I mean for you to feel as though I'm sitting in the room singing to you, and that this is something that's really intimate.
Mhm.
You know, I'm just trying to hold my grandmother's hand one more time.
Mm.
That was
Yeah.
it.
Hey there, would you like to be part of the live show? Well, become a member of the Back Catalog Listening Party Patreon, and you'll get a backstage pass to weekly online tapings where you can ask the artist questions and participate in the live chat with a fun community of like-minded music nerds. You'll also get a first look at upcoming guests and receive invitations to special live streams and private after parties. So join the party today at patreon.com/Back Catalog Listening Party.
Well, I'm so excited to dig into more of these tunes with you. The next track you picked to feature from Gild the Black Lily is Oleander. Is there anything you want to say about this before we take a listen?
I meant for this to sound like something from the turn of the century. I wanted to put forward the idea that Black people have always freed themselves from slavery, from oppression, from whatever was happening around them. And sometimes there were nefarious ways of doing that. And the oleander plant was one of them. This is a flowering bush that is pretty standard. It's a pretty standard bush. Every single part of it is poisonous. The leaves, the flowers, the root, all of it. You could boil up the leaves and put that in a pot of stew and kill everybody in the neighborhood. Not to give anyone any ideas or an instruction manual, but
just
you
so you
know,
know. Yeah.
if it were the 1700s or the 1800s, and if I had something to do, if somebody were torturing me or whatnot, these are the means to the ends. And no one thinks about that now, but in desperation,
Right.
you might.
Yeah. Well, let's take a listen to Oleander here.
This is Queen Esther with Oleander here on the Back Catalog Listening Party.
Won't you stay with me and ease my troubled mind? Oleander, oleander. Oh, the peace you'd bring might be a friend of mine. Far away from here is a place so near and dear to all who claim to be glory bound from this evil town, because the blood done signed our names. I feel so much despair every livelong day. Still it pains me to say there are moments here and there when I don't care if you would carry me away. Oleander, oleander, won't you stay with me and ease my troubled mind? Oleander, oleander. Oh, the peace you'd bring might be a friend of mine, a friend of mine, a friend of mine, a friend of mine, a friend of mine.
Queen Esther with Oleander from her 2021 album Gild the Black Lily, which we're revisiting today with Queen Esther joining us. A sweet song about a poisonous plant. Love it. Oh, and you're muted if you want to unmute yourself.
And Connie says, wow.
Yes. Yeah, that's basically it. There's a plantation in Louisiana. I can't remember the name of it, but I know this ghost story. This Black woman who worked inside of the house um, and who was getting raped on a regular basis by the man of the house would overhear certain tidbits and pass that along to the other enslaved Africans on the plantation. And one day she got caught listening in, and they cut both of her ears off.
Mm.
So, in retaliation, she boiled up some oleander and put it in the birthday cake for the children, one of the children's birthday. I think the idea was that she wanted to get her a little sick and then nurse her back to health so that she wouldn't have to go work in the fields. And unfortunately, she didn't get the mix right.
Mm.
And she ended up killing everybody, the wife and the kids. Yeah. So they ended up dragging her out and hanging her. And she wanders the grounds. She's there in the house. People have taken pictures of a Black woman with a green turban on her head. The little girls are there on the property. They run around. They can hear little feet upstairs, pitter patter. They can hear them laughing and playing together in different parts of the house. I mean, and their images have been caught on camera.
Wow.
It's not like, I wonder what that is. Someone takes a picture and you see eyes or form. There's an infamous picture of this woman looking out, moving the curtain and looking out the window,
Wow.
with this green turban on her head. Someone was like, wow, you have a reenactor inside. And they're like, the house is empty. We just locked up. It's like, oh.
Time to go.
Who was that? Yeah, exactly. Gotta go.
Well, you certainly captured like that era, like with
Yeah.
both the instrumentation, well, all the the chord changes, the delivery of the vocals. I could really feel the kind of the actor too, like that, like it seemed to like be channeling like a certain time. And you mentioned that before we listened to it, that you were kind of after that. Is that just something that you kind of intuit, or did you actually kind of like dig into some of the music from that time and try to recreate it in some way?
When I was a little kid, nobody told me what not to listen to. Nobody said, you're not supposed to be listening to the Allman Brothers or, Roy Clark or anything. I just listened to whatever I wanted, Parliament Funkadelic it was all just coming at me. And because I didn't have an edit button, because, at one point in history, nobody did, when everybody was just listening to music because it felt good or they liked it. The grand divide happened when it was time to sell it.
Mm-hmm.
That's when things became racialized. We've got to call it country music to sell to white people, and we have to call it race music to sell to Black people. But before that, everybody was just listening to whatever they wanted to listen to. So in that turn of the century way, I suppose, that's where I jumped off when I was a little kid. And since no one corrected me, I just kept going. So all of that is in there. Nothing learned is ever wasted. And my ears got attuned to a lot of different things, of course, augmented by the drama of a musical theater nerd.
Yeah.
That just really wants to set the stage and give you a feel and sort of create this world audibly for you to step into. Because when I was little, that's how I experienced musicals. I wasn't going to musicals every week and this kind of thing. All I could do was listen to albums, soundtracks, and just sort of close my eyes and imagine what it all looked like. And I think that's a part of what I'm replicating when I write songs.
Feels that way.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah, if it feels that way, then yay, I'm pulling it
Yeah.
off.
It was very immersive, and like, and I knew that you
Immersive.
had this theater background, but like really, it's like the picture analogy I think is a good one, where I just felt like I was stepping into this other place and time.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
both of these, the two songs that we've heard so far, again, they each are rooted kind of in this place and space. I'm curious because, you were very intentional with this album about kind of conjuring up these different songs and sounds and feelings, especially related to your grandmother. When you especially when you were releasing this album, when you performed it, like for a release show, were there settings for any of this, or did you just perform the music and let the music do its own job?
Oh, I let the music do its own job. Settings? No. I mean, but it wouldn't necessarily be that difficult to conjure that up if I had a theatrical space,
Right. That's why I
to
asked,
create a
because of your
storyline.
background. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to do that. That would be amazing. I'm not going to say no to that.
Yeah. Well, let's help manifest that for Queen Esther, a good theater space for her to do this whole album with some theatrical sets and whatever. I can just see it. It would be really cool. But that's what the music is doing for me. I'm picturing all of this in my head, which I think is really fantastic. And folks are really loving the music. I just want to mention,
Awesome.
if you are later to the party, it's never too late to join the party. Again, we're talking with Queen Esther from her home in Harlem about her 2021 release, Gild the Black Lily. And if you have comments or questions for Queen Esther as we go, throw them in the chat and we'll get to as many of them as we can. And Christopher was asking if you've ever crossed paths with Rhiannon Giddens, of course, a very well-known musician. I think he was asking because of maybe her background in opera as well. Have you guys ever crossed paths or collaborated at all?
I've never met her. I've never crossed paths with her. Everyone says, what? Whenever I say that. Like she lives up the street.
Right,
and
exactly.
I mean, go borrow a cup of sugar.
Well, and she is a pretty busy woman. I mean,
and she's kind of busy right now.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
So yeah,
Exactly.
I'm sure our paths will meet eventually.
Yes, exactly.
But I've met Layla McCalla. I've met at Americana Fest, I think a year or two ago.
Yeah. Another
2 years ago,
Carolina
like
Chocolate Drop. And Layla McCalla also just spotted on the Oscars the other night. I saw her in the band. I was like, it's funny. I was looking at that performance from Sinners, which was so epic. And then I was like, oh, there's that person and it was pretty cool to see so many, roots musicians that I recognized playing in that band.
And again, it's great to hear from a different part of the South. We hear so much from New Orleans. We hear so much from Nashville, right? Yay, it's a Nashville party. Everything is right.
Yeah.
That was all Mississippi, wasn't it?
Yeah. So very cool. Well, we're going to get to more music and conjure up this music from your childhood. This next song is This Yearning Thing. Is there anything you want to say about this before we take a listen?
Yeah, it's a love song. And I just wanted to write a love song that felt a little different than, I want you or the usual stuff everybody writes about. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Did you have a setting in mind when you wrote this one?
Yes, but you tell me if you pick it up.
Okay.
What I'm
That's our
throwing down.
assignment for the song, folks.
All right. Yeah. If you have any thoughts, throw them in the comments. This is Queen Esther, This Yearning Thing, here on the Back Catalog Listening Party.
This yearning thing I feel will take me under, like the pull I feel when you are near me. Catastrophic, lovely, hurting thing I feel for you. This yearning thing. holds me close and sometimes makes me wonder when the special one that you adore someday soon embrace the heartache that you bring. This yearning thing, this yearning thing is a pain that never goes. This yearning thing, it just grows and grows and grows, ever more alive and lingering. This yearning thing. This yearning thing must be some kind of hunger. It shadows me and mesmerizes. Pretty jagged, painful, bitter sweetness on a wing. This yearning thing. It lets me go and never makes me notice that the time to go is long since past, pressing down upon this soul with nothing that remains. This yearning thing. This yearning thing is a pain that never goes. This yearning thing, it just grows and grows and grows, ever more alive and lingering. This yearning thing. This yearning thing.
All right, Queen
Nice.
Esther with This Yearning Thing, a love song from her album Gild the Black Lily, which we're revisiting today with Queen Esther joining us to talk about these songs. And I don't know, I have my own thoughts about. It sounded like a
Where'd it take you?
cancer or a parasite was what I was feeling.
Well, there's a quote by Chuck Palahniuk, the guy that wrote Fight Club.
Oh yeah,
The one you love and the one who loves you are never ever the same person. So I think that was probably on my mind when I wrote that.
Yeah, well, musically, I felt like maybe we moved up a few decades into like 60s or something there. Maybe some like Townes Van Zandt-y kind of stuff going on. It was beautiful. Who was picking that guitar? I just love so soulful.
I think that was Jeff McLaughlin.
Oh, I love that.
I could be
kind of
wrong, but I think that was him.
I love that kind of interaction with your vocals and the guitar, and it just it's beautiful.
Yeah, and I actually was curious, since obviously a lot of your performance, the music has been centered around singing, and now songwriting as well. Do you write on an instrument, or do you just come up with the melody and the lyrics on your own, or is there a go-to instrument you go to?
It's weird, sometimes the song is in my head and it's complete, and I'm just writing it down like a stenographer. I really do feel like it's just like, well, gotta catch them all, Pokemon. Like, let me just write this down. Or a melody will come to me in the middle of the night, and I will get up, I will go to my phone, turn on the recorder, sing it into it, and then the next day go, where did that come from? I don't know where that came from, but it's good. and then the song comes, and sometimes I don't know, it's bits and pieces, but I usually flesh things out on a ukulele because I'm not Al Di Meola on guitar, not yet anyway.
Yeah.
And the ukulele is very forgiving. It's like my little oyster fork. You know, I can really play a lot of complicated chords on it, and um, it's easy on me. It's very easy, you know.
Mhm.
Um, when the pandemic happened, I had a soprano ukulele that lived in my lap, and that's how I fleshed out a lot of those songs.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah,
Nice.
it's nice and portable and it's easy to carry around and there's something to be
Tiny,
said.
yeah.
It's something I like about it. You can get fancy. There's some amazingly fancy ukulele players, but in a lot of ways, it can just give you just what you need, just a little harmony
Mhm.
and a little rhythm to do something with. I think it's an underrated writing instrument, and I'm
Totally,
happy to hear you say that.
Right.
totally underrated.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
The Back Catalog Listening Party is brought to you by EFS Publicity. Founded by veteran publicist, promoter, DJ, and musician Ellen Stanley, EFS brings an artist's perspective to the table, working to help clients get to the next level in their career. Services include national and international media campaigns, radio promotions, tour press, crowdfunding, grant writing, and more. Get a quote or set up a consultation today at efspublicity.com. To go back to this amazing cover, which we were talking about at the top of the show, with this photo by Amy Arbus. Again, it's you in this kind of bare room with this wearing this dress, and shoes, kind of like church dress or something. And then
Exactly.
you're sitting with a banjo, and your eyes are closed, and you look like you're, I don't know, praying, remembering, something like that.
Yes.
And tell us about the banjo presence in this photo, because obviously that was intentional. So tell us a little bit about, obviously, that the instrument has deep roots in African and Black music.
Well, I think what a lot of people don't realize is that the piano, the double bass, the violin, the guitar, not just the banjo, their origin story happens. The prototype for all of those instruments, it's African, 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 everything. You as a human being, you know what I
Right.
mean?
We
Yeah.
all come from there. Yeah.
Mitochondrial Eve. You know, everything is coming from some part of Africa. And I wanted to have something irrefutably, undeniably, unapologetically Black by my side.
Hmm.
Mhm.
So that's why that was there. And it's from the 1920s. I wanted something that old to harken back to my grandmother and to her moments, also my father as well. Um, and I called it Gild the Black Lily because the idea of gilding a lily, it doesn't need it. You know, you
Mhm.
don't need a lot of adornment. When you have something that's good, you don't need to, a good slice of chocolate cake doesn't need 10 pounds of fudge, dumped on top of it. It's it's good just the way it is. So the idea
Hmm.
of stripping it down to the bare essentials in some of these songs, that was the impetus, and that would clue you in. You're seeing something old, and you're hearing something new at the same time,
Mhm.
um, and
Yeah.
something that is unapologetically, almost unforgivably Black.
Hmm.
That Jack Johnson level of unforgivable Blackness is what I always want to convey.
Well, you did. This is like a very striking image that really suits the music in a perfect way. And I just want to put a plug in that Queen Esther has physical copies of this album. So you could get
Yes.
the artwork and as well as like the highest res versions of these files. And you can
Yeah.
hear her voice and her full glory. And it just sounds amazing. So as good as it sounds on this podcast, it's going to sound 10 times better if you get the high res files.
Agreed.
Also, I've got a gig on Saturday. Can I plug my gig?
Sure.
Sure.
I'm going to be at Joe's Pub for the album release for Blackbirding, my
I
latest
was
album.
was just going to ask you about blackbirding. So when you go to Bandcamp to buy this album we're revisiting tonight, Gild the Black Lily, you will find that Queen Esther has a new record that's out now, Blackbirding. And I was going to ask you, is there anything you want to say about this new record so that folks can check that one out too?
I had a residency where I lived on the battlefield at Gettysburg. I lived in a house that was built in the 1850s on the battlefield, and I wrote the songs for that album on the verge of the pandemic, in isolation, basically, in an open graveyard. And I went there because I had an epiphany one day as a Southerner. Um, I had an epiphany. I realized that slavery had never ended. The Civil War had never ended, and blackbirding, uh, kidnapping people and dragging them off to slavery, has never ended. ICE agents are the new blackbirders.
Mhm.
So I wanted to create something that addressed that. I don't really believe that we will become the America that we'd like to be, the America that we think we are, the America that's in the brochure, until we deal with all three of those things.
Yeah.
Amen.
Yeah, exactly. Well, again, I've heard this new record. It's awesome, folks. So definitely, if you're liking what you're hearing tonight, you're going to hear just a whole other amazing collection of deep songs on blackbirding. So
Yeah, I'll
you
be
can
at Joe's Pub on Saturday on the 21st of March, and I'll be at Dizzy's Club Coca-Cola in Lincoln Center on April the 7th.
Excellent.
Nice.
And we will, and the other place you can check out to see all these dates and all the gig details is, of course, Queen Esther's website, which is queen-esther.com. And you can find out about all the many hats she wears. I mean, we talked a little bit about it at the top of the show, but if you go to her website, you're going to just see all the amazing artistic things that Queen Esther does, from theater stuff to writing, to performing music. So definitely want to check it out. There's so much to dig into on that website.
This is the tip of the iceberg, folks. Head over to queen-esther.com to enter Queen Esther's world, because it's vast, and we're so grateful that you're creating and generating the art that you are. It's so important, especially in this moment, and I'm really excited to hear that new record. I think we all need to hear those messages right now.
Yeah.
But I've just looked at the clock, and we are almost out of time, and we've got at least one more song we want to get to. But before we do, we want to give a big shout out to our Patreon community who have kept this project going for the last 6 years. Music, we believe, is medicine. It really helps everything. And in my personal opinion, I don't think I would be here without music over the last 6 years. It's been so important. And the artists like Queen Esther coming here is part of it, but the other part are those of you who show up for the artists and let them know how much you appreciate what they're doing. And those of you who've showed up specifically for our little program here, the Back Catalog Listening Party, we want to give a big shout out to our Patreon community. Penny, Anna, Linda, Bevan, Connie, Vaughn, Alan, Chris, Becky, Peggy, Joe, Jim, Beverly, John, Tim, Sarah, David, Jocelyn, Matt, Steve, Mark, Severin, Lynn, Mary, Nikki, Joni, David, CJ, Christy, Diane, Hetty, Sandy, Neighbor Ann, BZ, Paul, Cynthia, Ross, Mike, Eric, Stephanie, Phil, and Ryan. And thank you all so much. Yes, and thank you so much for being here and doing this. Like I said, I mean, things are rough. But music makes it better, and community makes it
even better than that.
Better than that, yeah, and
exactly.
It gives me hope.
Anything that's better than the world is good.
Exactly, and that's what we need more than ever right now. So I just thank you to our Patreon folks. If you guys are out there listening and want to be part of our Patreon community and want to hang out with new independent artists every week when we do these tapings, you can check out patreon.com/Back Catalog Listening Party. You get a backstage pass to these live recordings, but most of all, we just appreciate you being here, listening, and supporting artists like Queen Esther.
Yes, indeed. And we're so excited that Queen Esther was able to join us. because she's so busy all the time. So we want to get to this last tune, especially this tune, because we were talking about which tunes we were going to play before he came on tonight. And this was like the number one song she wanted to play. And there's notice so it's The Whiskey Wouldn't Let Me Pray, and it says parentheses acoustic, and that's because there's two versions of this song on the album. Do you want to say anything about that?
Well, I don't know. One didn't really feel like it was enough, and there's I don't know. I just wanted something more immediate and more intimate. Son House, I saw an interview with him. He was talking about how he wanted to be a preacher, a man of God's word, and just walk the earth and just give the word to the people. But the whiskey and the women would not let him pray.
Hmm.
And I thought, there's a song in there somewhere.
Sure is. And
Wow.
that's another very theatrical kind of song too. I mean, or cinematic. Like I can picture like that whole story.
Yeah, that's the idea. That's exactly it.
Well, it's the perfect way to end our hour here with Queen Esther. Make sure you go to queen-esther.com to hear both versions of this song. But Queen Esther said this was her favorite. So we're gonna close out our hour with her favorite, The Whiskey Wouldn't Let Me Pray acoustic version here on the Back Catalog Listening Party.
I fell into a bottle and I nearly drowned. I had to fight not to fade away. I tipped it over slow with my broken heart, 'cause the whiskey wouldn't let me pray. Let me pray, let me pray. I had to fight so hard not to fade away, 'cause the whiskey in the bottle wouldn't let me pray. I swam all the way home through this dirty old town. Bright light to guide the way. Don't wanna get so high, tell the world goodbye, 'cause the whiskey wouldn't let me pray. Let me pray, let me pray. I had a bright light to guide the way, but the whiskey in the bottle wouldn't let me pray. In my dreams I saw a city on a hill. The sun shined all the livelong day. So much light in this heart of mine, but the whiskey wouldn't let me pray. Let me pray, let me pray. Sun shined all the livelong day, but the whiskey in the bottle wouldn't let me pray. Let me pray, let me pray. I had a bright light to guide the way, but the whiskey in the bottle wouldn't let me pray. The whiskey in the bottle wouldn't let me pray.
Wow. Yeah.
Oh,
What a great way to close out the show.
I
The
don't
whis-
drink, but after I sing that, sometimes people have come up to me and said, guard your sobriety.
yeah. That means you sang it very convincingly, Queen Esther. You really embodied the spirit of the song, so to speak, spirits of the song. folks loving the music, and everyone, the comments are just lighting up about what a great show. And I echo Christopher's sentiments here in the comments. He said the show is awesome. Thank you, Queen Esther. Come to Minnesota.
I really have to.
And Tony and
Yes.
I are also in Minneapolis. We would love to have you here. So you let us know if you ever think you're even coming close to Minnesota, and we'll make sure.
We'll spread the word.
We will spread the word.
We're going to have to figure something out.
We will. There's a
Excellent.
very robust theater community here too, which I think a lot
awesome.
of good spaces where you could do some cool
That's
stuff.
right. This could be that place where you could put on
Mhm.
the whole show.
Exactly.
I know. The whole show.
The whole show. Well, thank you for joining us for this show, because I don't know where the hour went. We could have spent
I
a
know.
million years on each of these songs. But we're very grateful that you took the time to chat with us today, because this is really,
Oh my gosh.
really cool.
It
Great
was,
record.
that was 10 minutes long.
Yeah,
It really
I
was.
can't wait to hear more.
Just went by in a flash.
I know, right? Well, thank you all for joining us today, no matter how you've joined the party, whether you joined us for the live taping or whether you're tuned into the podcast. Thank you. If you enjoyed the show as much as we know you have, make sure to review it, share it with friends, like it, and most importantly, subscribe to whatever preferred platform you listen to the show on, because you want to get alerted about what's coming up next in the podcast. We drop new episodes every Friday, bringing your weekend a little closer to your ears. And we're so grateful that the weekend started today with Queen Esther. So thank you so much. And good luck with your big release show too.
Yeah, congratulations
So,
on the new album, and
Thank you.
We can't wait till that's back catalog. Then we're going to give you a call. And
Yeah, exactly. We're going to talk about that.
I would love that. I'd love that a lot.
Awesome.
All right. Well, thanks everybody for joining us. We'll see you back here next week at the Back Catalog Listening Party. Cheers.
Cheers.
Thanks for joining us on the Back Catalog Listening Party. If you like what you hear, please subscribe to the podcast and leave a review, which helps more people discover our show and our guests.
And do you want to be a part of the live show, get a first look at upcoming guests, and receive invites to private online parties and live streams? Then join our Patreon community at backcataloglisteningparty.com.
Have a great week. We'll see you back here next Friday for another edition of the Back Catalog Listening Party.